Hello everyone, this is Mr. Elrod from Atlanta, Georgia. We have another session of AP Human Geography Review. Today we're going to be talking about free trade and fair trade, the differences between the two. We'll be looking at a few review questions to go along with the review of the information. Now today my purpose is not to talk to you about the really which is better, free trade or fair trade, but more to talk to you in context of the course and the arguments really for free trade and fair trade, just to keep the conversation simple and to the point, and then allow you to look at the review questions. So first we'll talk about free trade, looking at the difference between free trade and fair trade. So when we look at free trade, really there's no country in the world that has a completely free trade situation all the way around. It might have some elements of free trade. But when we talk about free trade, we're talking about the trade between countries or nations that have little to no artificial barriers to trade. Now, when I say little to no, in the liberal economic theory of international trade, we'd be looking at absolutely no barriers to trade, but really that just doesn't happen. So I talk about with very little or minimal barriers to trade with other countries. So we talk about barriers to trade, we're talking about things like tariffs, quotas, government subsidies, etc. Anything that's going to rise the cost of foreign goods in the home market, in the domestic market. So of course, through tariffs on import taxes, quotas by limiting things from coming into the country, and then any type of government subsidy towards a domestic product, which is going to reduce the cost of that product. And of course, the purpose of all those things is to make the domestic good look more attractive in terms of price, and try to price out some of the foreign goods. But anyway, so free trade tries to get rid of those things, and so you can see some of the merits, at least those who argue for free trade, the merits of it below. Things like that it promotes competition, and of course those of the liberal economic theory believe that competition is best. Not only will we get better products, also get cheaper products, and people will be employed because companies will be willing to invest and expand, and those types of things. You look at things like countries are trying to find their own what they call comparative advantage, talking about what can they produce not only better but also more cheaply than other countries. And so you think about countries almost as companies, and they're competing with each other in the open market. The benefit that consumers can purchase cheaper goods for the consumer, it's great because we typically get a better product at a cheaper price, so therefore our cost of living is less and we can have a better standard of living. Companies become more efficient. There's less waste. There's more efficiency in the process. That means they can invest, they can expand, innovate, and things along those lines. So again, those are some of the merits of free trade that people try to point out when they advocate for that. Again, I'm not really looking to discredit either theory, just talk to you about some of the benefits. Then with fair trade, looking at international trade between nations with some barriers to trade, either really high barriers or at least some barrier. Again, the whole purpose of these barriers is to try to make the domestic production of goods seem more attractive to either companies or to the consumer, because it's going to try and price out the foreign good. Some of the merits are those who argue for fair trade. You look at it protects the domestic jobs and industries. So, and the idea there is if you're protecting people's jobs, then you are protecting the economy in the country. You're letting people keep jobs and earn wages, and then, of course, be able to purchase goods and things like that. You're protecting the companies in the country from foreign competition. It helps to do what they call level the playing field, especially if one country has some sort of advantage in producing an item. Then you try to level that playing field so that even though they can produce it more cheaply because of better technology and things like that, the good that the foreign company is bringing in will not be as cheap. Again, you're protecting your domestic market from foreign goods to try and promote the sale of your goods. And then you're protecting and it says protects domestic and foreign labor. The idea there is that with free markets, that you have the exploitation of cheap labor, and so if you protect the industries and protect the laborers through fair trade, then you have the idea there is that you would have better labor practices, so higher wages, better regulations, things along those lines, because companies would not be as compelled to flee overseas. So anyway, that's just a brief difference between free trade and fair trade. So again, we're going to go through some brief statements. and lets you determine whether or not you think they are statements in favor of free trade or fair trade. Again, I suggest that you listen to the statement, pause the video, see if you can come up with whether it's a free trade or fair trade statement, and then move along to the next statement. First statement is, we should reduce or eliminate tariffs to allow an influx of cheap goods. The answer to that, of course, is free trade, talking about the reduction of tariffs, allowing in cheap goods. Of course, that would be conducive to the consumers at home. Second question, or second statement says, countries should participate in industries in which they have a strong comparative advantage. Again, the answer to that question or statement is free trade. Again, the key term there, a key phrase is comparative advantage. We discussed that kind of in the introduction, so that would be the key term there. Statement 3 is, other countries will take advantage of our policies and undermine our domestic and foreign markets. The answer to that is fair trade. That would be a statement in favor of fair trade. Again, you have the key terms or phrases: undermining, foreign companies undermining the domestic market because of the influx of cheap goods, therefore undermining your domestic industries, and then causing your industries at home to struggle and possibly potentially lose those jobs that are there. Statement 4 says the government should be in the business of protecting its industries. And then if I guess you wanted to, you could say by extension of protecting industries, you're then protecting the laborers in those industries. The answer there, of course, is fair trade. Again, the purpose of some of those subsidies, tariffs, or quotas or things is to protect the industry in the country, and again, by extension, protect the laborers. Last statement is, the free movement of goods, capital, and investments is the best way to promote economic development. The answer to that is free trade. And something I forgot to mention in the beginning, when we talk about free trade and fair trade in human geography, a lot of times we're using it to refer to economic development. So those who advocate for either free trade or fair trade use it in the context that they believe that their economic theory of international trade is actually the best to help especially poor countries to develop and gain an economic foothold into the world market. So we come at it from that perspective. So in that particular statement, we were looking at someone who felt like when you have the free flow of goods and capital, that allows for faster economic development, especially in poor countries. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful for you. Again, please leave comments, like the video. Let me know some of the things that you might like to see, so that way I can adjust and provide the content that you would find helpful. Thanks, and have a good day. Good luck studying for your exam.